So today I've got two special guests. One I've known for a long time, is a real good friend of mine, Doug Caywood, and the other one is DeWayne Hamby. His bio is so long that I can't even start to tell you what it is. But he's an author, he's in the music business, he's a preacher, and he is an interviewer. He at one time was a reporter and a freelance journalist in Atlanta. I don't know if he did all this coverage today, but he certainly tried to do it. They didn't have it, did
Yeah.
they? Who cuts your hair normally?
That's got a great clips.
One specific person?
Two ladies there, one or the other will do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is this the artistic side of Doug?
That's what everybody says at the office, and all my friends, they're like,
Are you still down with Todd G?
yes,
Well, he's a great guy, isn't he?
he is.
I mean,
he's not there a lot, but he's
He
really
stays
good.
he stays busy.
Yeah.
He drives that Jeep. I know where he's parked down there close to George's office. He parks the Jeep and walks back.
Yes.
So besides being a renowned architect, which is something in itself, you've started this thing, I believe. Did you start it yourself? This Trek Thru Truth?
Yeah, Trek Thru Truth. My wife and I had the vision for it when our son was in T.C. Thompson. He was born early in the NICU, and we were staying at the Ronald McDonald House. And we had our 9-year-old son at the time there with us, and after quite a few days of going back and forth to the hospital, and it had just been and we hadn't had any downtime, they sent us over to the Creative Discovery Museum with our 8-year-old with 3 free tickets from Erlanger. They gave them to us to go over there to have some downtime with him. And after Jill and I just being able to watch him for quite a few hours, playing by himself, learning, we started talking, and we wanted to find somewhere to take him that was Bible-oriented, or find a museum that was Bible-oriented like that. So we started looking, and there really wasn't anything in the whole nation like that. So we started working with the Association of Children's Museums in developing kind of a prototype of what a children's museum that's totally focused on the Bible could be. So that's kind of where it started when he was born.
How long ago was that, Ben?
He is leaving for MTSU this week. So the initial idea started right at 18 years ago.
It takes a long time to get something like that going, doesn't it?
It has. We've done a lot of planning, a lot of development, a lot of traveling across the nation, looking at children's museums, and then got to the point that it got more than we could do, and that's where DeWayne came into the picture as executive director, us interviewing for that position, and with his background, we thought it was really a good fit at this time of how we could take it to the next step of development.
Well, what about Trek Thru Truth? How did you come? Was that like one of the four names you were going to give it, or how did you arrive at that?
We had lots of different names. We started out as Christian Discovery Museum, and in working through it with the Association of Children's Museums and different entities, thought that would become confusing with the Creative Discovery Museum, and then we needed to have it have a name that that didn't have museum in the name, but told what it was. So we needed something that was a journey through the Bible. So it became, for the alliteration, Trek Thru Truth, is the one that we settled on after really many months of going through names, as we're trekking through 52 exhibits that we've pulled out of the Bible, and how we're showing God's truth through those 52 exhibits.
Why 52?
We're also developing curriculum so that there is that churches can use for Sunday school or for devotionals. So it relates to 52 stories that you can have one a week for each year. So.
Well, that's really unique, isn't it?
It is. There's really nothing like it. I mean, Museum of the Bible and The Creation Museum in Kentucky and Ark Encounter are three of the ones we've studied most in depth, but they're really not just focused on kids. So ours is, all the exhibits are focused on children really from kindergarten through age 12 to 13, but also for families and, I mean, older than that, but the exhibits are focused on the kids being able to explore the Bible and learn it from Genesis to Revelation in a day or a 2-day trip to the museum.
So is the museum up and running now, or is it still in concept?
No, we're in the development stage. We have preliminary floor plans drawn. We've got a couple of sites that are viable for that that we were looking at, but really we needed to step back and get everything in order, having a person who's dedicated 40 hours a week and helping us develop that for the marketing and the capital campaign. We have our business plan, we have a feasibility study, we've started some fundraising, but it really needed that next step of somebody full-time working on it to take it to the next level.
You can't really, you almost can't quit your day job for your passion. Does that make sense?
It
I
does.
mean, it's a weird thing.
Yes.
You know, you can't, and you know, the old saying, follow your passion. You just can't necessarily do it 40 hours a week because you have to make a living too, right?
Yes.
I'll say this about Doug, that somebody the other day said he is one of the hardest working people that they know, because he does do his full-time job and then his brain does not turn off because he's sending emails all the time. He's sending texts.
Right.
You know, whenever he gets the inspiration, he's going to do it. So he has that full-time job. Of course, they also said you run a farm as well. So he's a man of many talents.
I'm texting DeWayne on the tractor at nights or in the evenings, or so.
Doug is really a workaholic.
Yeah.
If you had to define it, that's what he is. And being an architect, that's a hard job, man. I mean,
It is.
it's so difficult. It's got to be one of the hardest jobs there is.
And you don't leave it at 5 o'clock either. So when I'm texting you, I'm also on the tractor texting about a project
And people that you're dealing with, they want to get home and say, oh, let's think, because you're dealing with their passion.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you're actually you came to Lee, right?
Yeah, I was at Lee until 90. I graduated.
Where were you
93.
originally from?
Marietta, Georgia.
Marietta.
Born and raised in Marietta, Georgia.
You've got that Georgia, little bit of a Georgia drawl.
Everybody says I've suppressed it, but if I get around Georgia people, it comes out for sure. It's like almost speaking a language, you know. You get around those people and your accent comes out.
Wonder why that accent. It's just a little bit. It's more of a drawl, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm probably one of the least. You know, I use mine the least, but a lot of my Georgia friends, you know, it's really evident.
Is our mayor isn't he from Marietta, Kevin Brooks?
He is, yeah.
I thought he was, and his wife is too.
We have bonded over that because I don't know if you know about the Marietta. We have the Big Chicken down there. You ever heard of the Big Chicken in Marietta?
Uh-huh.
Growing up in Marietta, there is a huge monument. It's not a monument. It was a business. I don't even know how tall it is, 60 feet tall. It's a big sign. It's a big chicken of a sign, and now it's a KFC, but it wasn't just a chicken place. So when you're growing up in Marietta, it's like, you know, where are you in relation to the big chicken?
Oh, I see.
You know, so it was all directional signs.
Yeah.
I tweeted something recently to Larry the Cable Guy, and he referenced the big chicken, you know, when he found out I was from Marietta. I mean, that's a Marietta landmark there. So, yeah, and Kevin and I have talked about that.
So did you know him when you lived there?
Kevin?
Yeah.
No. Just through Lee. He was the alumni coordinator after he had graduated, after I had graduated, and we connected. I worked for a little while over at Brooks Screen Prints, and he came in to do some shirts or something and just connected with me about, you know, the alumni support, joining the alumni coordinator, you know, joining the alumni association. And we just connected, and, super nice guy. I think that's probably the first time I had a conversation with him, but we've always connected since then.
Were you connected with the Church of God, and that's why you came to Lee?
I was connected with the Church of God of Prophecy, and that's why I came to Tomlinson
Oh.
before it closed.
Oh.
I was here for 2 years at Tomlinson.
Stay at the dorms?
I did. I stayed in the dorms for 2 years. And then I went home for a semester. I was going to go to Kennesaw State, finish out my education. I didn't get my transcripts in time, so I was going to have to sit out the semester anyway. And that semester, I just decided I want to go back to Cleveland. I want to go to Lee. Some of my friends are there. It's not going to be exactly like Tomlinson, but it'll be fun. And I think by that time, Tomlinson was closing. I think that was their last semester.
What was sad when that closed? What, it's kind of the end of an era?
It was, yeah. They had 150, 200 students, and it's a very close-knit community. It was almost, some people said it's like going to school at youth camp. We did go to school, and I didn't lag behind as far as, studies or whatever. When I went to Lee, I didn't have to catch up on anything. As a matter of fact, they said, you've really, knocked out a lot of your basics before and then I can concentrate on my major when I was there.
So it was a good school.
It was. I loved it.
Wonder why they had to close down.
Just operational costs, really.
You just have to be big, I guess.
It has to, yeah. I mean, there's a make or break moment. Other small colleges like that, I worked in the youth department for the Church of God of Prophecy after that, and I remember Dr. Kahn coming and talking to us about it because they were going to do a partnership with COGOP, and he was talking about East Coast Bible College and some of the other colleges that they had done partnerships with, and he says, there were the good old days when these small Bible colleges were all over, but it's just the economic times, it's just hard to keep things going like that.
Economies of scale, I guess, are not there.
Right.
And that they have to advertise to get students to come there. It's a business, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And it gets bigger, you either have to, step up and really go after it, or you just got to get lost in it.
So with Lee, what did you graduate in?
Communications. I was there when they first built the Dixon Center. I was in the first play in the Dixon Center. I was an actor.
What was you acting in?
Arsenic and Old Lace. I was a guy who came at the end, and they poisoned me. I had an on-stage death scene. So, I drank.
Did you do the gun smoke thing?
No, I just went like this. But I drank that poison. I went down on the table. So one particular, it was a beautiful play. I mean, they really pulled out all the stops. It looked professional because it was the first one in the Dixon Center. I've never seen a play that elaborate since then. I'm sure they have in the years. But one of the performances, I drank the poison, and then that's the end of the show. I fall down dead on the table, and they turn the lights out. And so the lights stay out, and then they let the people come up, start doing their bows. And one of the times, I'd close my eyes. And so one of them, I died on the table, and I got back up, and the lights were still on. And then I went back down, and everybody in the whole crowd just laughed. Like, it was a big, huge mistake, So it was good. I enjoyed my time at Lee.
Did you then get the job in Atlanta as a...
When I graduated Lee,
yeah.
I worked for a local newspaper. It was in Roswell, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Roswell and Alpharetta, and Alpharetta was booming at the time.
Yeah.
So they had, I covered the city beat. I interviewed the mayor. I went to the council meetings. I reported on that kind of stuff. And that's really where, you kind of learn the news writing. I learned the news writing at Lee. I put it into practice in that paper.
Do you think Lee gave you a good idea of what it was like, or when you got there you thought, man, this is really not this is the real world here, or was it different?
No, Lee really prepared me for it. Our news writing teacher at Lee, even those of us who never were going to go into news writing, she had a class full of people, they just had to take it. She said, this is going to be one of the most important classes you take, and you don't believe me, but you'll find out it's true. And it absolutely was true, because it just shows you how to structure when you're news writing. News writing is different than creative writing. You want to put your lead up front. You want to grab the reader's attention up front. You can't do this, slow mo, because 2 or 3 paragraphs in, they're going to quit reading, so.
Did you think people read, or you heard people that read in the F form, they read the first line and then the shorter portion, and then they read 1 or 2 words, so they really don't, and they really don't get the gist, but they think they are.
Right.
And
yeah.
so when you're writing for a newspaper, I guess you have to write as if they're reading like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to write, you write the most important thing in the first of the paragraph, and then they always tell you to put the least important stuff in the last few paragraphs, because if it gets trimmed for space, they may just cut that without going back to editing. They may just say, okay, we've run out of room. And back in the days when I got started, they were cutting and pasting articles. It was actually on a board. We went to the Marietta Daily Journal to do it. We used the X-Acto knives and the wax and all that. So,
Boy, that was, and newspapers now, I don't know of any newspapers really, except you get the Cleveland Banner?
We still do get it.
I don't even get it anymore.
I don't read it, the print version, as much. I do most of it online, but we still do get it to get out articles and things that are referencing our projects or things like that.
I remember growing up, I always looked at the obituaries around town, maybe 1 or 2 of the comics, and that was about it. Maybe the business section. But writing for a newspaper is one thing. Writing a biography is another.
right.
But do you think there's different writings for articles on the internet? Like, you'll see something on, I guess they call it clickbait, and
Right.
So are they doing the same thing as newspapers did, or is it a little bit different? And if it is, how is it different?
I think people who do clickbait, to get attention, they're going to get, like a newspaper, they just print it. And they want, ultimately they're concerned about distribution, but it doesn't directly impact according to the article. But if you're writing for a clickbait headline, you may get paid on if that goes viral or not. So you want to have, or some people will want to have something that will trick people into reading it. And now I don't do that tricking, but you'll see it on your Facebook feed where it'll say, "You won't believe what Doug Caywood did today."
Well, for example, I was reading it last night, and it said, "It's been confirmed that Mike Tyson is," and they were carrying a casket, and I thought, well, did he die?
Yeah,
so
they want you
I
to
clicked
click,
on
yeah.
it, and I got 3 or 4 pages down, and they never did say it.
Oh,
so I
that
just gave
drives
up.
me
I thought, well, if
crazy.
he,
That drives me
I
nuts.
mean, and it goes back to telling who he was, and I know who he is, and I just finally
Right.
gave up.
Yeah, there should be a law against that because it drives me nuts.
I think that they would be better off if they wrote more like the old newspapers
Right.
did. The important factors up, and if you want to read it, then you can get into the details. But at least, because I just don't even click on it anymore.
Right, yeah. Yeah, me either.
And then that goes, so there's different forms of writing depending on
What your goal is.
What your goal is.
Yeah. Whether to inform the public, which was, what I was trained to do. You're trained as a news writer to inform the public, to tell them every side of the story, to try to be impartial. I felt like that was a real important thing for me as a newspaper reporter. I would go to the city council meetings. I'd report just the facts. I might get an opinion from this person and this person, but I definitely wouldn't. If I could, I would get opinions from both sides of the aisle. I didn't want 2 or 3 people saying, we don't want to do this project. There was a few times like that. Publix came in, was going to build a store, and another store came in and they had to annex some land. So the other store came to the meeting and says, you don't need to annex that land. We don't need another grocery store here. I reported on it, and this other store just flipped out. Like, that's not what we did. But that's exactly what they did. They just didn't want it to be in print,
Do you think that a writer can write stuff without being biased? Or do you think it comes out?
I think eventually it comes out, but it just depends. A writer can suppress it. Just like we're talking about the accent, you can suppress your bias a lot. You just put it on a shelf. Some of us are able to do that sometimes. I don't have hard news. I don't write hard news, or I haven't for a long time since that time there. So it's easy to see my preferences because I report on, movies and music and stuff that I like. So you can see my bias. But if you're in a news writing position, I think you can be fair.
And that's something we get away from with all the news channels now. We don't know if we're getting their opinion network.
Right.
But newspaper writing should be just the facts.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when you get into freelance journalist, which is what you did you get into that because you wanted to express more of your opinions?
I got in. Okay, so when I left the newspaper, is when I came back to Cleveland. Now, remember, I left twice. I left after Tomlinson, left after Lee, and then at the Church God of Prophecy offices, the youth department had a magazine going. And so they called me because the editor was leaving, going to another department. And so they asked if I would come be what they called an assistant editor, but it's actually the editor. It's the one who does all the work, the heavy lifting. So I started getting really involved in that. I've always loved music. So when we had that magazine, I started reaching out to some of the groups, some of the singers and bands and stuff that I liked. Hey, could we do an interview? I didn't know how easy it would be. I didn't know how responsive they would be, but they did. I mean, I just started getting interviews with people who were big heroes of mine musically growing up.
Was it all pretty much religious oriented?
It was Christian, but through the years, it's spilled over into, mainstream people.
I noticed you interviewed like the Backstreet Boys.
Brian Luttrell.
Yeah. So was that have been a Christian interview or?
It was. He was a Christian, and he was coming out with his first Christian record.
Oh.
When the Backstreet Boys were kind of on hiatus. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the mainstream people that I interviewed, it was when they did a gospel project. Brenda Lee,
Amy Grant.
Amy Grant. But Brenda Lee did a gospel project. Randy Travis did a gospel project. I talked to him, and Billy Ray Cyrus. Even this
Billy
week,
Ray Cyrus did a.
He did a gospel record.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess that's before Miley got too.
Yeah. I think she was probably just a baby when we did that. But my mom was crazy about Billy Ray Cyrus.
Everybody's mom was crazy about Billy Ray.
And Randy Travis. And so when Randy Travis, they had invited me to a reception with him. And I said, Mom, I want you to go somewhere with me. I don't want to tell you where it is. Just get ready. She would not go. She was terrified. She said,
to meet him.
Yeah, she said, I'll say something to embarrass myself or whatever. And one time I was somewhere with Billy Ray Cyrus, and I had a camera, a video camera, and I said, will you say something, to my mom? And so he says, hey, Mom, or whatever. And then I thought, well, I have a cell phone in my pocket. Why am I doing that? So I just called Mom up, and I said, Billy, would you talk to her on the phone? And so he said, hey, her name was Tommy Joe. Hey, Tommy Joe, I'm standing here with your son. And she said, who is this? Billy Ray Cyrus? She said, it is not Billy Ray Cyrus. He said, it is. I'm standing here with your son. So, yeah, I love doing stuff like that.
What was he like?
He was nice. He was super nice.
How tall was
nice. He was tall. Anybody's tall to me because I'm 5'8".
How tall was he? Reckon?
I can't.
Like 6'2" or just 5'9"?
About like
5'10"?
this, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't see him as a tall person. So isn't it funny how you see some celebrities that look tall on TV, but they're
Yeah.
short, and some that look short are tall?
Arnold Schwarzenegger is shorter than you would think.
Have you ever seen that guy, Who Loves Raymond?
Oh, Ray Romano?
Yeah, Ray Romano.
Yeah.
He's like 6'2" or something. I would have never thought that about watching him on
Right,
TV.
yeah. I ran into him at a baggage claim in LAX once, and we were there for a youth thing from Peerless Road Church. We had taken and he was just waiting on his bag.
Just waiting like everybody else.
And somebody said, that's Raymond over there. And so I just went up because I'm one of those people. I'm not obnoxious, but, I'll talk to anybody. And so if they're a celebrity, I'm going to talk to them too.
What was he like?
He was super nice.
Did you notice him being tall?
I think so. That's been a long time, but he was asking me, what are you here for? Hope you enjoy it. Just the cordial. He wasn't like, don't bother me or anything like that. It was fun.
I'd like to be famous like that. Would you, Doug?
I don't know. It'd be
Doug is famous like
No.
that. What are you talking about?
no, no,
Doug, you ever get tired of doing architectural work?
no, because every project's really different. I don't do a lot of drawing now. Most of my work is working with the clients and working with new owners and getting new jobs. So that's the part I like, meeting people and going to board meetings and just interacting with
So you don't have to go sit behind the desk as much.
No, I'm not behind the desk much at all. So I really enjoy it.
So you have people in at your the Knoxville office that does a lot of the drawings.
Yeah, we've got one full-time besides myself here in Cleveland now, and then we have 18 or 19 in Knoxville. So I'm using 2 or 3 different teams on different projects consistently.
How many would you say you're working on right now as some form of the process? From talking with them to finish to doing punch list.
We have over between 20 and 30 projects at
Boy,
some
that's
form
a lot.
right now.
They ever get mixed up in your head?
Sometimes, but it's. Most of them are. We typically try to have a balance of things that are projects that are starting, projects that are under construction, projects that are finishing up. We have a lot that are just starting now, so that's really hard on the team. Of everything's going to be in construction at one time.
Yeah.
Or
And some may fall out.
Yes.
And some may come in, so you don't even
Right.
know.
So, and some get to the end of it and the funding's not there, so it waits a while. So it just varies.
I sometimes get the jobs confused. I called here a while back, I called the termite guy and I said, hey, Fred, I need you to treat this house. And he said, Dee? I said, yeah. He said, do you realize you just called me 30 minutes ago and asked me that same thing? I had no idea that I had already called him 30 minutes ago.
Every time our exterminator calls, they say, it's time for your annual inspection. They just called this past week, quarterly inspection, and I said, for which property?
Yeah.
Because I don't know which project or which property it is. So they out every time they call. So
you don't have that problem with your business. See, me and Doug, we have to keep all these separate things. You don't have that problem.
No, but I have kids at home, so I don't know if that counts. I got small kids, so.
Well, we do too. So it's a different world keeping up.
you've got all your interviews and
I still do
everything, so-
interviews. I still do freelancing.
So who would you do freelancing for? Is that the
I have a webpage that goes, there's a site called pathos.com.
isn't
Yes.
that like one of the largest religious organizations?
Pathos is, yes. It's the largest religious website of all religions. Now, there may be a bigger one that just focuses on evangelicals or whatever. Pathos has hubs in a bunch of different religions, but our entertainment side of it is mostly evangelical or Catholic or, Christian based. And so I write for the entertainment page of that.
How many, they have subscribers or is that on?
Clicks, they have 20 million clicks a year. I mean, a month.
A month.
Yeah.
You get to see, so the clicks, do you get to see how many playthroughs or whatever they call? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the statistics on your pages.
I never know how they, how they know that, because somebody might come back and watch, and I can track the playthroughs, and that's
Right.
supposed to be 95%. But how they know if you didn't go to this computer or that computer? Is it all I wonder if it's IPO address,
specific,
Yeah.
perhaps. They'll say, typically on that, they'll say something like unique visits. So unique visits mean separate computer, separate IP.
Is
or
that
whatever.
organic or is that different than unique? There's
Organic, I think, means the reach of it. Like if you're talking about on social media, social media, their metrics are organic, which means word of mouth. And then they have a paid reach. So if you put money behind a post, like you take one of your episodes here and you say, I want to put $100 behind it because I want more people to see it, then that would be a paid reach. And you say, wow, it went to 5,000 people.
Yeah.
But organic, if it's unpaid, then that would say, oh, I hit 5,000 organic. How much more could, if I put some money behind it, then they would say the paid reach.
And that would be on Facebook, right?
That's correct, yeah.
But then you've got, is Pathos on Facebook and YouTube?
Facebook, their social media only reflects what the site is. The main focus is the site. So their social media just promotes people to go to the website. So I don't know, they don't do a lot of paid promotion that people pay to be on Pathos, but I don't see Pathos paying to be on other things. And I don't see ads on social media for Pathos. It's all, I would say all of theirs is organic reach.
Do you think that when you write for them, do you write like once a week for them?
It's as much as or as little as I have a chance to do. I don't send them to anybody. I don't send the articles. I edit them myself. And so what happens is typically somebody will say, they'll send me pitches, email pitches all the time. And you probably are getting those too. Here, perhaps, when people say, hey, I'd like for you to talk to this person. And if it's a movie coming out,
Right.
If it's a CD coming out or whatever, they'll say, hey, this person's got a new CD coming out next week. You want to talk to them? They have availability on Monday or Tuesday. And so I do that.
Through Zoom?
Zoom, a lot of times, sometimes in person. Some of the movie studios will fly us up, fly us to New York or Los Angeles, Beverly Hills. I've gone to Canada before. I was invited to Mexico City once. Wasn't able to do that junket. It was actually on my twin's birthday, so I didn't do it. Yeah, so we do all those interviews. Now, we do those interviews, and then you just keep getting more interviews. You put them on the site. So really, nobody is standing at Pathos saying, hey, you got to give me something. But what I do is, if I don't put that online, then the next time somebody pitches, they're not going to pitch to me. They're going to say, well, we gave him this interview, but he never put it online. So I kind of have a self-discipline to put that up. And especially if something is really interesting and I want to get the traffic, then I'm going to put it up.
What are you wanting to get the traffic for? You're for Pathos or for just...
It's for Pathos and me. The more interviews that you have, especially the ones that are more popular, open more doors, for bigger interviews.
And what's the end goal? Do you make money at this?
No,
or
it's just fun.
Just your thing?
It's a hobby because people ask me that all the time. They're like, they said, have you ever, how do you monetize that? I've never figured out how to, except the experiences that we have through it are amazing. I mean, Pathos pays per click, but it's just a marginal payment that we get a check every so often. But it's really the experiences, because the average person, if there's a new Denzel Washington movie coming out, and they say, hey, you want to fly out here, watch it, and sit with Denzel Washington, talk about it, we'll put you up at the Four Seasons, and then you can fly back home. The average person would say, yeah, let's do that, And So it's not like a payment, but it's opportunities like that make it fun.
But you're here this weekend for preaching, right?
I'm here for Trek Thru Truth.
But didn't you preach?
I did preach this morning at Turning Point Community Church at Durkee Road. My friend Dr. Carden, Dr. H.E. Carden, is a pastor there. He had knee replacement a couple weeks ago, and so today was his first Sunday back, but I was a guest speaker, and also I tell them about Trek Thru Truth, because that's part of my job now with Trek Thru Truth is to share what's going on with it and try to get the support of the churches. But the job I had right before I joined last month or the month before with Trek Thru Truth, I was an executive pastor in Orlando on staff at a church. So I did preaching down there, I taught, and then, all the administrative duties of a church.
Does this put you back in Cleveland the third time? Am I thinking right?
It would be more than that. It would probably be more than that.
You keep ending up here, don't you?
I know. You know Wes Seepin, don't you? Do you know Wes?
I don't think so.
He's a musician, local musician. He's really talented. And I spent some time with him one day, and he says he has a theory that there's a bungee cord on the back of people when they leave Cleveland, and if it's meant to be, they don't come back. But if it's not meant to be, that cord just pulls them back.
Have you ever run into people that don't know you've ever left?
Oh,
yeah. They don't even know that you've left.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Just don't even bring it up.
They're just like, where you been? Like if they haven't seen me at church or something.
What'd you preach on this morning?
I preached on the passage of Scripture where John the Baptist is in prison, and he asks them to ask Jesus, are you the one, or should we look for another? And so I use that to talk about basically the people who are looking for hope in this world. They're asking us as believers, are you the one? Is this the thing that's going to cure my soul, or do I need to look for something else? Is this is this the right thing? Is this the truth? Is this the true path? Or should I try something else, go to self-help or another religion or whatever?
Sound like a good sermon.
Thank you.
Now, does Trek for Truth, they take donations? I guess, obviously, right?
We do.
Dumb question, right?
We do. Our biggest event for the year is going to be the Fall Festival we're doing on September 16th for this year at the River Maze. So we're before they open on the next week, we're having a pre-show.
Where's the River Maze?
Ocoee, right after you cross over the Ocoee River on the left. So we'll have artist vendors, food vendors, Christian music all day, and you'll be able to do the corn maze and all the river maze activities that day as well. So that's our biggest fundraising event for this year. And then after that's over, we'll be moving into more of the capital campaign development for the building and the site development.
Do you have a site for the development or the site for it?
We have a couple of possible sites on the 64 corridor is where we're kind of looking, trying to stay more of in a naturalized setting. We want it to be indoor-outdoor activities for trails. So there's teaching opportunities for petting zoos, outdoor development as much as the inside.
On the Courthouse Square at 30 2nd Street is the law firm of Logan Thompson Law. Since 1965, they have served the legal needs for the good citizens of Cleveland-Bradley County. If you've got a problem, they're no problem. Give them a call.
It's hard to find a site for something like that because you got to go. Do you have to have sewer?
It would be beneficial to have sewer. We're looking for between 12 acres is really be our minimum. We're really looking at 30 to 35 acres, so we'll have growth room for potential additional phases for the project.
With sewer, boy, that will be expensive, won't it?
Yes. So, there's lots of opportunities there of bringing it to the sites we're looking at. So that's one thing that'll really be if we weigh the cost of the site versus what it'll be for utilities. So.
You got any suggestions?
This is Doug's area of specialties. I'm the messenger, just like in that scripture where they say Jesus, where John asks somebody and then there's the go-between.
Yeah.
I'm the go-between.
The liaison, maybe.
That's right. I'm the reporter. So yeah, that's my specialty, and the cheerleader, because their projects, that's what it is telling the story of why it's important, right?
With exhibits.
Yeah, and
That's the thing,
the whole
right, with
mission of the
exhibits.
museum is not, for any of our benefit. It's that, and I shared this morning, is that kids, from the moment they wake up nowadays to when they go to bed, my kids included, the world is trying to tell them things, trying to tell them who they are, what to do, what to think, what to buy, all that stuff. And we have to somehow keep the Word of God in front of them. We have to keep the truth in front of them. And so that's why I believe in this project, because it will fascinate them. It will make the Word of God come alive on their level. And I'm excited about it.
You believe that if you can train a child till they're 7, then they'll stay in that training. Have you ever heard that theory?
I think it's very powerful. My wife Jill and I, we've taught for 15 or more years 4 and 5-year-olds, and that's where we've been testing out of a lot of our stories and our interactive components, because we're trying to relate to all 5 senses for every one of the stories that'll be in the museum, and we've been using that. And when you have a 5-year-old leaving our class, and they can, at the end of 2 years of being in our class, they can answer over 130 questions from Genesis to Revelations as a 5-year-old, it works. If we've got them and being able to interactively teach those stories. So we feel like we've proved that 7 years and under, that's very important. If we don't catch them early, it's harder.
Right.
So that's really, we're trying to start as early as possible.
You're almost describing a permanent vacation Bible school. That's the way I remember
Correct.
vacation Bible schools. It was
Right.
it was 1 week out of the year. That was a big deal when I was growing up.
And it still is for many churches, and that's how we describe it, or I describe it when I present to churches. It's like you put so much effort into that with your props and your planning and what you're handing out during that vacation Bible school week. But with this ministry and this facility that'll be open all year long, every day, it's got all of those props and things
Yeah.
that will be a ministry tool for those. It's not going to replace Vacation Bible School, but it gives resources and things that the churches can use throughout the year, not just 1 week during the summer.
Right.
When you grew up going to vacation Bible school, do you remember that distinctively?
Yes.
Where did you grow up to church? Didn't you grow up on Old Chattanooga?
No,
Or
through 6th grade, I was at Cedar Springs Baptist Church, and then went to Valley View Baptist Church till I went to college. So, and then when I went to college, I joined a church in Knoxville and started writing Vacation Bible School curriculum. So I actually helped with the churches there in doing the curriculum. So I've kind of been through the whole, and now my kids have gone through Vacation Bible School, and now my grandkids are in Vacation Bible School.
But
So
at Cedar Springs, where is that church?
it's off of Cedar Springs Road.
Cedar Springs
South-
Church Road?
Church Road.
Yeah. So you go down Spring Place,
Mhm.
take a left at the old, used to be an old convenience store
Convenience
on the
store
right.
there.
Remember
Yes,
that?
yes.
Is it still? I don't
The
even know.
building's still there.
It's just an old white building. Isn't it?
Yes, yes. So I grew up, I could see Cedar Springs Church from our house. I grew up on Cedar Springs Road. So that's
How far after you take a left on Spring Place did you grow up?
probably a quarter mile
On the left or right?
on the right.
My uncle built, me and my uncle, I was 17, we built a house on the left, a little bitty house on Cedar Springs Church Road. That was just real close to where you live.
Right next to the apartments.
Right next to the apartment.
We owned the apartments, so that was
You
my
owned the
dad's.
apartments.
Yes.
There were like 3 units or 4
We
maybe?
had 4 units right
4
next to the
units.
house. Yes.
They were real neat, always kept neat. And we built that little bitty, it was a farmer's home house.
Yes.
So where is the church from there?
It's just right past it. I mean, if you go less than a quarter mile, you can see it on the right.
Still going away
Toward
from.
Ladd Springs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
towards Ladd Springs. So the Vacation Bible School then was like 7 days, wasn't it? I
was a
remember
full
it being,
week.
it was a full week, and they always had, you know, cookies afterwards.
Yeah, I always have food and games and the story and. Yeah,
And it was in the evenings. And you always had to invite a friend, did you?
Yes, you got stuff for inviting friends. Some churches do them still during the day now, so you got the
that's-
opportunity.
That changed everything, though, didn't it? They started going down to 4 days a week, and I don't even know if every church does that. Did you have that when you were growing up in Georgia?
We did, and we actually, at the church I'm still connected to in Orlando, we just did VBS last month.
Was it during the day or of an evening?
It was at night. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we did a celebration on Saturday afternoon.
But what compelled the Vacation Bible Schools to go from a full week to abbreviated? Is that a sign of where we're going?
I think our schedules are busier nowadays. When I grew up, anything the church did, there wasn't much else going on. So every time the church doors were open, I mean, I was in a youth group when I was 15 or 16, and on Monday night we had prayer meeting. Tuesday night we had a concert ministry at our church. Wednesday night we had our regular Wednesday night. Thursday night they opened the gym. And Friday night, we would go to another town if they were having service, like a revival service. Or
Well, they
whatever.
wore y'all out, didn't they?
You couldn't get away with that now with parents. You know, I mean, it's just if kids play ball now, they have so many
Yeah,
things.
I
they're
remember
involved
when
in.
they used to not have ball games on Wednesday nights because most people went to church.
And now they have them on
Remember that?
Sunday mornings. You know, they have them.
Yeah, soccer on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah,
So, a lot of changes.
right. So their schedules are more crowded, and we actually extended it because last year we did Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was a celebration. So we did move it an extra day this year.
Did Wednesday night church, somebody said they didn't have that before that started during the Civil War they were called prayer meetings because they'd pray for the troops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and prior to that, they didn't have Wednesday nights. Have you heard that?
I mean, it makes sense, but I'm not.
I have heard that, you know, some historical reports were that a pastor would pastor several congregations, especially out in the rural areas, and they would only
Circuit.
They would only meet with that church every few weeks. So some churches didn't even have church every Sunday. They would only meet when that preacher was
The
in
circuit,
town.
yeah.
So,
I grew
that's
up-
fascinating.
I grew up going Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night.
Me too.
I mean, Sunday mornings, Sunday school, Sunday night, and Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard now. I mean, everybody's so busy. You'd almost go broke if you went to all of them, trying to keep up with your regular job.
Right. Yeah. I miss Sunday night. You know, it was a big part. 'cause-
Did COVID do away with that?
No, it was gone. Most churches I know is gone 10 years before COVID.
Well, I heard some history on that. I don't know if it's right or not. They said that back then they would have to travel by horse and buggy to church, and they would just stay there. They would have lunch and then have another meeting.
There you go.
And then
Yeah.
go home because they
It's a
couldn't
whole
just
day.
drive like with a car.
Right.
So when they started driving, then they started going back home. And so now, what's the point in going and stopping and going back?
Right.
See, we still have Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night, and then we have life groups meeting, men's meetings, women's meetings. I mean, almost every night of the week there's still something available. And it's growing, which is interesting to me.
Oh,
that,
yeah, I
that
love
it's building more now than it was before COVID.
And
So-
it doesn't make sense, does it, really, that why it should be growing? Because most places you'd think would start doing online. We started doing online, and then the attendance went down, but now it's actually surpassing what it was, like you're saying, and there's not a real reason why.
I think I know for a lot of people at our church, it was for so long you lost those relationships and the
Community.
person-to-person community feeling. And now that we started getting that back, it's just growing and people are wanting to develop those relationships and build the community within your church or sections of the church.
Right.
Does that Cedar Springs church, they still operating?
They do.
How many members do they have? Do you know?
I don't know.
If you went back to that church, would you feel just as home as you were back then? Or was that just years ago?
We went back for probably 15 or 20 years because my grandparents went back there. So I would go to homecoming and different things when I was visiting them. But it's been years. So it would be like going back to a totally different
Group,
group. I would know a few of them. But I think it wouldn't take long to develop those home again. But we're in a lot bigger church now. They probably have 50, 60, 70, somewhere in that range. We're at 350 to 400. So we've kind of learned being in a bigger church, and more opportunities
There's
for our
more
kids.
resources, for sure.
Yes. So especially with the kids and the youth, that was important because we'll have 75 to 100 youth on Wednesday night now. So that was important
That gives
for our
them a
kids.
group.
Yes.
I don't know what the answer is, but I know that one thing, COVID probably did away with some of the smaller churches. Because if you have 50, 60 members and you don't go for a while and they don't have the ability to do it really online, people get out of the habit, they go somewhere else. Next thing you know, they can't pay the light bill.
Right.
Yeah. We still have our online, and it's really helped for a lot of the shut-ins or people who are sick or in the hospital, to still keep them engaged. I think COVID really helped that part for our church.
Do you think that early Christians went to church like this, or how did that evolve into a congregation place and a meeting place? Because they didn't have churches then; they just
Met in
were
homes
2 or 3 met
They met in
together.
homes, yeah.
Isn't that what it says? Where 2 or 3 meet
gathered
there, I am with you. Is that correct?
The structure, that's right. The structure of church has changed. I think the original structure was you get together and you share what God has been speaking to you. And it was more of an interactive, it was more congregational, ministering to each other. I don't know the whole history of it, but I have read a little bit of it, and somehow it has changed into, somebody speaking, somebody up front speaking to the congregation.
Being paid.
Right. On
Song
salary,
leader, they're
yeah.
paying the song leader.
So, and that's how I grew up. There's nothing wrong with it, but I
No.
think the original idea was cell groups, like what Doug's talking about, a small group in a home, getting together, sharing, about the Lord.
I went to this, Tennessee, where I think it's the Amish community. What's the name of that? Is it Lawrenceburg, Tennessee?
Oh, I don't know. Where is
not
Amish?
sure.
There's Amish here, though.
But there's someone, it's either, I don't think it's Mennonites, I believe it's the Amish.
Okay.
And they're in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, next to the state park. And me and my friend Grady Jones, you ever know Grady?
I know who it is, yeah.
He was a good friend of mine. Me and him, he was 92. Funny story, he was, we like to go do those things and visit those places just to talk to them.
Right.
So we went to Lawrenceburg, and he was 92. It's a true story. So we're driving up through there, and he wanted to go to that state park and eat at the only state park that has a brunch that's paid for
Yes.
by the state.
been there.
It's a huge thing. And he
Good food.
wanted to go back there. So I was going to take him, and we was going to tour the Amish community. And so on the way up there, his daughter-in-law called him, and this is a true story. But we got a motel room in Nashville, the whole 9 yards. And she called, and he answered the phone, and he said, "Will you talk to her?" And I said, "Hello," and she said, I forget her name. And she said, "Are you with Grady?" I said, "Yeah, he's right here." She says, he's got dementia, don't you? And I said, "Well, he seems fine to me." And she said, "Well, he's not thinking clear." And I said, "Well, he's fine to me." And she said, "Will you make sure he's okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'll make sure he's okay." And that was really weird. But anyway, so we go up there, and they didn't have a place where you could learn about him. So we just got in the car and started driving around the circle, and they sold soap and baskets and stuff like that. And so we pulled up to this house where the guy was there. He had on the suspenders and everything. And Grady, he talked to anybody. He said, "Hey, are you Amish?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, He said, "Do y'all go to church on Sunday?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "Do y'all believe in Jesus Christ?" And he said, "Yeah." And then the guy, he was being friendly, but he talked with that kind of a German accent too.
Right,
So,
yeah.
and Grady said, "Do y'all take the Lord's Supper?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "You know the song Amazing Grace?" And he said, "No, I've never heard of that one." So everything was the same except he had never heard that song.
Oh, wow.
Now, isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
You'd thought that being the same in all those other areas, he'd know that song.
Right.
And before I left, I said, "Hey, why do y'all wear those clothes like that?" He says, "It's not religious, it's just tradition."
Mm.
So I thought that was a good answer. But anyway, I don't know how I got off on that. But
Well, they don't listen to media at all. They don't have
No.
electronic. And so if they haven't heard that song live
Yeah.
in their church, then they're not going to know it. If somebody hadn't come, and I can see where their circle is closed.
Right.
As far as that music.
that was real interesting. I never will forget that. And then we went on another tour to the Shaker place up in Pleasantville, Kentucky, or something like that, or Paris, Kentucky. And the Shaker, they were doing the tour, and there's five Shakers left in the world at the time. That's probably 20 years ago, because they don't believe in procreation.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, what do they expect?
Wow. Wow.
I believe it's Pleasant Hill is the name of it. But anyway, isn't it? I don't know how we got off on that, but I guess the evolution of religion and churches
Right.
and the doing away with the cell churches are just kind of falling away. And a lot of times in these smaller churches, you don't have anybody that's really in charge. So how can it? Used to they'd have the men's instead of elders, they'd have men's meetings, but they wouldn't have some of the churches were so small they didn't have elders.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard about two of the groups, and I think it was Amish and Mennonite, but I'm not positive. But it's Amish and some other group, and I would think it's a Mennonite. Somebody recently asked me, "Do you know why they split?" Because these groups were together.
No,
Zippers. Using
that right?
zippers in their clothes.
because the Amish use buttons, don't they?
I think so.
The Mennonites are supposed to be liberal Amish
Right. Yeah.
because they use some machinery.
My wife, she works from home. She works in the publishing industry, and she works for a publisher that is a Mennonite publisher.
Is he a Mennonite himself?
No, not her boss is not. But no, one of her bosses is. One of the guys is a consultant. But yeah, they're members of Mennonite, but they're not. They're not strict, or they may be strict according to whatever
Yeah.
kind they are. But they're not. You can't tell them. You can't tell that they're Mennonite in what you think of Mennonite. If you're thinking traditional clothing and all that, it's not like that.
That's part of the Puritan movement, right? That what they call the Puritan movement with
I
the
think so.
Shakers, the Mennonites, and the Amish, and
Right.
more pure.
Right.
Isn't it funny how religions have evolved like that?
Yeah.
Even in our own churches and our own beliefs, it's just way different than 50 years ago, and well, that's just 50 years ago. Go back 300 years ago. It may be we might not even recognize.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What, if we go forward, what happens?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, what happens?
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of that is what we're trying to do with the museum, because I think a lot of that we're passing that on with kids not being able to go to vacation Bible school, with for a full week and that's getting smaller. So we're trying to offer that opportunity for families to still have that, and how our cell phones and all of our digital can be worked into that through the interactive parts of the museum. That's what they're used to, and we're trying to relate the Bible to them where they're at.
I see I see the connection there. Is you're almost creating a permanent vacation Bible school site with a curriculum with it.
Right. We want to be able to send them something back home. They can experience those exhibits through a day or two, but take it back home they can use it for homeschool curriculum or their Sunday school curriculum or just as their family as a devotional. So those things are being developed with the building at the same time.
And these stories and exhibits, they can't get real deep into theology. They have to be a light.
It is. It's non-denominational, just telling really the historical account. So we want to relate to those five senses. So when we take them through the story of Jonah and the big fish, it would be to let them learn about the science of that too, about the inside of a fish, what that experience could have been for Jonah inside of that, why he was in there, how did he get thrown up out of that fish, and things like that. So it's educational as well as just telling the historical and biblical account. So digging deep into theology, no, it's a historical walk through the Bible and all the accounts.
And all the religions agree. All the Christian religions will agree with this storyline, I guess, right?
Correct, because for instance, we will be focusing on the archaeology too of how we're working with Lee, for instance, with their department that goes over in the summer to do digs and everything, archaeology and Israel, to bring back pieces of the pottery and teaching about how they lived then. So it's just the whole experience, because when you're reading through the Bible, it's hard for kids now, I think, to imagine that because they don't have a visual,
Right,
they don't have something to touch.
I think that's what created the Vacation Bible School, maybe.
I think
Is
so,
that neat?
to make
Yes.
it a fun time to learn.
Are you excited about this new venture?
I am. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I feel like it's a calling. You definitely can hear it coming from Doug and Jill, and there's a board. They're excited about it as well. And first time he contacted me about it, he just wanted me to post the job for my friends, and it wasn't on my radar at all. Except that this sounds like a great idea, and I posted it. And then later, something in the back of my mind was like, maybe this is something I can,
In Cleveland.
jump on.
It's in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I feel that bungee cord just start pulling. But, as a parent and even in my local church for the past few years, I'm a champion of children learning about the Bible, And there's nothing like one of my kids repeating a Bible story to me or something that they learned in children's church, because I know it's going to stay with them, And so if we can do that on a large scale for kids to impact them. You had asked about the future, and sometimes we're like, oh my goodness, what could the future hold? I'm still confident that the same God that brought us to where we are, he's going to be in the future, even if we're all gone. There's still going to be a remnant. There's still going to be people who care about the authenticity of the Word of God, who care about making sure that people know it. So that's the hope for the future, and we're trying to do our part to be stewards of the time He's given us and the resources that He's given us. It's a monumental task, but God knows no limit as far as His resources, and it's amazing what, I live in the backyard of Disney down there. It's amazing what people throw down on a family vacation down there. Have you been to Disney? Have you done
I've
a
been there
family
twice,
vacation?
I think.
And when you get the bill, or you're paying your hotel or whatever, it's
Well,
just
it's probably $5,000-$6,000, isn't it?
Oh yeah, some people. I read about people who stay there for 14 days, and I'm thinking, my goodness,
I can't stay home for 14
That's
days.
that's $300 a night, and just to stay in a room. Then you got your tickets, you got all that stuff. So
You got to have Mickey Mouse come to the table.
that's right. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do the character dinners.
Yeah,
So,
character dinner.
Yeah, so the resources are out there. We have to tell the story. We have to let people know what we're doing about it, how exciting, and for them to be part of this project.
And it goes back to your question of things changing so much of what it was 10 years ago, 50, 300 years ago, and how those people have left their legacy.
Right.
That legacy of how we hope the people who help with the fundraising for this and the sponsors for this realize this is a way to continue that legacy in a way that is different and unique and year-round. So the legacy is a big part of what we can leave our kids, grandkids, and on.
It's a really good task. You got a real calming voice. Did you practice? How did you get that?
I don't know. I've done a bunch of interviews through the years.
But is that
I feel like sometimes I feel like it's too boring. It's too monotone.
No, it's very. It's
I go
very
back and
soothing.
look at my interviews because I keep thinking I'm going to take my interviews and do a podcast. And when I start listening to my voice on there interviewing somebody, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Oh
for
no,
the
you got a
It's
perfect
very-
voice. It's very calming.
Thank you.
Is it more like? Are you more like your mother or your father in demeanor?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good.
I probably take more after my mom, but she was really animated, and she was more animated than me when she told a story. She was much more shy in a social situation, like what I said about her not wanting to, too embarrassed to meet Randy Travis. So I'm way more outgoing than her, but she could tell. I mean, when at family reunions or whatever, everybody wanted to sit around her.
Is she Italian or Irish?
She was, what was she? My grandfathers on both sides were Cherokee Native American. And we had, like my dad was actually on the roll. My grandmother was on the roll. They went to Cherokee, got health care. Mom had a lot in her, but also her mother traced our genealogy to British back in the day. Traced some of our ancestors coming over on the Mayflower.
From where? From Britain?
Yeah.
So you're British
Cherokee.
Indian?
Yeah.
Were you saying
I had
Cherokee?
ancestors on both sides of the Thanksgiving table.
That's right.
Well, Cherokee, does like Cherokee, North Carolina, or just
Yes.
this Cherokee region of? Do you
North
realize?
Carolina, yeah.
Well, that would be blue. That would be Copper Hill, and that whole area was all Cherokee.
That's where my family come from.
That's right. You're almost coming. You see
Back
what
home.
you
yeah,
see what
just
I'm
keep
saying?
coming back home.
There's a spirit here.
My dad grew up around Turtletown. My
Hanging
mother,
Dog. Was he from? You were Hanging Dog is right.
No.
Hanging Dog's right past Turtletown in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Got Hanging Dog, Turtletown, Ducktown, Copper Hill,
Right.
McCaysville.
So mom grew up in,
Your dad grew up in Turtletown.
yes. And then he met her. She was from Postel, Ducktown, Copper Hill. Yeah. So
From
growing.
Postel.
Yes.
That's where they had the stagecoach stop, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Postel.
Yeah, that's my family's all over those hills, I mean, there's less of them than there were, but both of my grandmothers lived there. Growing up, Christmas morning, after we opened our presents, we hit the road for the Copper Hill, Turtletown area so we could go see our grandparents on
Which way
Christmas.
did you go to get there? Did you go through the mountains and through, do you remember?
Originally, before 575 was built and that, they cut that road, we did back roads. I remember we stopped at some ice cream store that's back in the day before you had, you'd get those little cones. This place, it's right above Canton, they would put look like a pint of ice cream. And
That's like Helen, Georgia.
as a
Put it
little
over in there.
kid, it just really made an impression. It's funny that all these years later, that's what I remember.
Might have been a Tom Thumb or one of those.
Yeah. It was big for a little kid, and I begged to stop there every time. But we'd go through Blue Ridge. All those roads, everything up there is different now.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we did. We drove up there all the time. It was a couple of hours from Marietta. My dad moved to Atlanta because he was an iron worker. My brothers were iron workers too.
Where did they learn the iron industry?
I don't know. I think my grandfather was.
They might have been in the copper mines.
Yeah. Now my grandfather worked in the copper mines.
That's probably where they got the trade.
Yeah. And then they heard a lot of work in Atlanta.
Right.
One summer, my dad went to Dallas, and he earned enough money there to buy a house in Marietta. He worked on the old Omni in Atlanta. He worked on the old, I think he worked on the old Fulton County Stadium. Those kind of places. When I was a kid.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed a few years ago. It was during COVID, but he didn't have COVID. He just passed
So
from.
not that long ago.
No.
Did your grandmother and them still lived in Turtletown?
They did, yeah. My Granny Hamby lived in Turtletown, right off the main road. Right when you're almost in North Carolina, right on the left. If I was with somebody, that's where Granny is. And my other granny lived in Postel, on the side of a mountain.
Everything in Postel is about the side of a mountain.
Yeah, a little
holler, yeah.
She had a little holler. It had a little barn down there. At one point, they raised chickens. She had a smokehouse, and then she had a storm cellar in the side of the mountain.
They were Cherokee Indian, weren't they?
Yeah.
That was... Boy, it's strange how things evolve, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I really hope that this goes good, Doug. I know you've been working on it a while, and it's been an uphill battle, I guess, hasn't it?
It has. I mean, there's been a lot. Raising our kids, doing the farm, and having the architecture business. It's been not having somebody a consistent time. You can't. It's not a project you can do on your lunch hour and in the evenings. So our board's realized that now, and with the leadership.
How many's on the board?
Right now we have 7 members besides myself on the board. We're looking to grow that. After our festival in September, we'll be looking at adding additional members to that. They recommend having 12 to 15 on the museum boards during development, so that's our goal. So.
Yeah, and if you can get some people on there that have some skills and, maybe for some area churches, not to show that it's denominationalized, that would help.
Right.
Our current board's really been a planning team and a development team for getting the basic layout, what stories we're using. So, and now we're ready to move that to the next level of a full functioning board, rather than a planning or development team.
In September, who's the band that's going to be playing?
Oh, we've got we're going to have 7 or 8 through the day. And one of the people I'm waiting for confirmation from, but he's an artist that is country gospel. We have Street Revival. My friend Blair Cantrell sings in that group. I don't know if you know Blair.
Is that Jonathan's relative?
Jonathan
Cantrell has Caldwell Paving. They're one of our sponsors.
I don't think so. Blair, full circle moment, when I used to go to church in Smyrna in Marietta, Blair and his wife were there, and his mother. So we've had a connection forever. We're going to have other local. It's going to be mostly local people, but we're trying to get a few maybe from outside the norm.
Can you get Amy Grant?
I could ask her, but I may wait on something that we're going to be kind of limited with our space there. And we might at one point she does a lot of charity, and Dolly does too. I'm not above asking her, and she's not above doing things, really nice things. But
what's the difference between Amy Grant? What's the connection between Amy Grant and Vince Gill?
They're married.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're married.
I knew there was a connection, but
they started singing together, and then they eventually married. They both were married, before.
Well, just get them to come down and play a couple of songs and
I
get this
know,
thing
yeah.
kicked off.
Vince is great. He is. I mean, he's not just talented, but he's funny. Every day, you have a minute, I'll tell you a funny story he told. I thought that was so funny. He said that he was on tour with the Eagles, because that's who he's singing with, the Eagles now, and this is their last tour, so they're retiring again. But he took over for Glenn Frey, and he said he was in Texas or something. He was eating at a Mexican restaurant, and he saw this guy in the corner booth, a cowboy, who just kind of kept staring at him. And he said, "Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah.
He knows who I am or whatever." And said the guy was eating, and he got up to leave, but he said he took the long way around to come by my table. He said, "Oh, here it goes. Say hey." And the guy come up to him and he said, "You know what? If Vince Gill gained 60 pounds, you'd be him." And Vince laughed and said, "Well, he did, and I am."
That's great.
He told us that at this taping. We went to a music taping for their Christmas thing that was on Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. Like they sang their stuff during the taping, but during the commercial breaks or whatever, while they're resetting, he would turn to some of us and laugh and all this. He kept saying, "I hope we get done in time to go by Sonic," all that. He's just
Well, I had
he
a
seemed
guest
like a
on
good
here,
guy.
Ricky Crook. He's sort of in that entertainment thing.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And he's real. He knows him fairly well. He's just from Chattanooga.
I just loved his sense of humor. I mean, of course, he's talented, but it says a lot. And Amy is funny, too. I mean, it is endearing to me when you're telling somebody a story and they laugh when they're supposed to laugh, and she does. When we do interviews, she laughs the whole time.
I liked her pop songs, too.
Oh, yeah. And
she had it. She had it at one time.
She's very
real
talented.
talented.
And last year, she was inducted into the Kennedy Center Honors. So that was a big deal for her. When they tapped her for that, she was inducted with U2, with Gladys Knight.
Just to be inducted with YouTube is an honor, isn't it?
Yeah,
To be at that level.
It's huge. Yeah,
Of course, they're not the same mindset.
No. But I just thought it was a big honor for her.
Listen, I wish y'all well, and I know one thing: Doug will not give up, and you, sir, are going to make this thing go.
I hope so.